4 zero-cost steps to grow any dental practice. From your friends at New Patients Incorporated. The material herein is copyrighted 2019 by New Patients Incorporated. All rights reserved. Unauthorized reproduction is a violation of applicable laws. First, let's start with a warning. If you are a dentist reading this and own your own practice, all of this will make 100% pure sense. It will be a memorable smash-your-head moment. If you work for a dentist, in the capacity of a business administrator or hygienist, what is taught in the following pages will be interruptive to your daily routine. Therefore, you might hate it. We hope you will take the time to think this through before you dismiss it. The practice you work for will begin to grow to greater heights, which is good for you and for everyone. This guide is about the bottleneck in your practice. You don't have a bottleneck, you say? Well, with all due respect, there is greater than a 95% chance you have a bottleneck and don't realize it. Or you are on your way to creating one. It doesn't matter if you bring new patients through hygiene or through the doctor's chair. Either way, you are in or on your way to a bottleneck. If you had a big piece of spinach between 8 and 9, wouldn't you want us to take you off to the side and tell you about it? Of course you would. As it pertains to this guide, look at us like a good friend who can take you off to the side and whisper in your ear, "Your practice is bottleneck." Bottlenecks are bad. Let us first agree you might be happy with your dental practice if it is at or beyond capacity, and bottleneck. You might not want to work more. You might not want to expand. You may not care. If this is where you are in your career, we say congratulations. We will provide a full refund for the cost of this free guide. For the rest of you, here are 3 reasons why bottlenecks are bad. Number 1, they are expensive. They can cost hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars over a career. Number 2, for the most part, they are invisible to the owner of the practice. Number 3, once a symptom is felt long enough, dentists typically take the wrong corrective action. Self-induced growth bottlenecks are bad, really bad. If you want to avoid or turn a bottleneck around, read on. Step number 1, identifying symptoms of a bottleneck. The easiest symptom to identify is stagnated revenue growth. If your revenues are mostly flat for 10 to 15 months, usually identified year over year, this would be a good indicator the practice is in the middle of a bottleneck. Stagnant new patient numbers over a long period of time, say 10 to 15 months, is another symptom. Having both flat revenues and flat new patient numbers over a long period of time pretty much assures you have a bottleneck. One is creating the other. You don't have to be in the middle of one to see or hear it coming. Here are the early stage symptoms of growth-limiting bottlenecks in dental practices. Number 1, you hear your front desk person having a more and more difficult time finding convenient appointments for your new patients when they call. Symptom number 2, your front desk person lets you know in a staff meeting that hygiene is booked out 1, 2, 3, or more months, and they have nowhere to put existing patients. Symptom number 3, if your hygienist pre-appoint recare from the operatory, you might hear them mention it is getting more and more difficult for them to find suitable appointment times for your existing patients to schedule into 6 months down the road. Number 4, your hygiene schedule has been getting more and more difficult to keep full, not fantasy full, actual productive and full. Symptom number 5, someone in your practice has the role of hygiene coordinator. They hate their job, or you can't find anyone anywhere who likes the role of hygiene coordinator, so you keep trying new people. Symptom number 6, no matter what or how much advertising you do, your monthly total new patient numbers don't seem to be going up in any meaningful way. Now, instead of overhearing your front desk person on the phone, number 1 above, you pretend you are a non-emergency patient. This is a little test you can do yourself. Look at the schedule in your practice management software and find no first morning or last in the afternoon appointment openings, primetime slots, for the length of time necessary for a new patient appointment for the next 5 days. Now, if you have a highlighter, highlight number 7. Copy and paste it somewhere. Build this internal test into your normal routine. Do it at least twice a month. We'll repeat that. Pretend you are a non-emergency patient, new patient. You look at the schedule in your practice management software and find no first morning or last in the afternoon appointment openings, prime time slots, for the length of time necessary for a new patient appointment for the next 5 days. Step number 2, the anatomy of self-induced bottlenecks. Pre-appointing all or almost all of your hygiene patients. The birth of pre-appointing all future or mostly all dental hygiene appointments happened somewhere in the recent history of dentistry. Someone somewhere thought this was a great idea. I'm guessing it was around the time dental practices were transitioning from paper to computer, then to computers in the operatory. Some office manager somewhere decided it was a good idea for the hygienist to make the OMs, life easier at the front desk by having the hygienist make the next recare appointment chairside. Then you saw it in a trade journal. Then you heard it on stage. The birth of complete business insanity was born. No other business goes out 6 months and reserves a business asset for a customer with zero promise of compliance and no recourse if non-compliant. Only dentistry does that. Even hotels that you book 6 months from now require a deposit. Whoever invented pre-appointing hygiene, you can kind of understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to make A-grade patients out of B and C patients, thinking the B and C patient would be more committed to the practice if they committed to an appointment day and time. We get it, but it didn't work. It actually hurts. Bad. And now we have 30 years of data which shows the negative cause and effect. Some of you are completely shocked right now. I bet a few of you feel like defending the practice of pre-appointing over 90% of your future hygiene appointments. Defending pre-appointment is like defending the act of smashing your thumb with a hammer. But we get it. We understand. Edit. But we get it. We understand why you might defend it. It's a business system you already have in place. People don't like to change business systems. The staff doesn't complain right now. That makes sense. The whole pre-appointment system is built around making things easier for the staff. Who wants to hear their staff complain more? Nobody. You probably have 100 dental colleagues who all pre-appoint over 90% of their hygiene patients. You can look at what your colleagues are doing in 2 ways. Either our advice has no merit, or 100 of your colleagues are just like you and do not realize they too are stagnating their own practices prematurely. Hint, our advice does have merit. Share this guide with the colleagues you care about. Now, we understand why you might be hesitant to change or even defend pre-appointing 90% of your hygiene patients. But the reality is, pre-appointing hygiene is the root cause of most growth bottlenecks in dental practices. Practice growth bottlenecks start because of hygiene pre-appointing. There are additional contributing factors, but pre-appointing all your hygiene patients is at the top of the culprit list. We will discuss better hygiene scheduling options a bit later in this guide. Here's another piece of the puzzle on pre-appointments. Failing to block or paint or otherwise reserving enough prime time appointments in your practice management schedule for your newest patients. Here's a good summarized way to think about this one. Existing patients. I want to offer them openings in my schedule after new patients have selected theirs. New patients. I want to offer these people a variety of the most popular days and times before I offer those openings to an existing patient. Now, if you have a growing dental practice, pre-appoint 90% of your hygiene patients into the future, and do not pre-block or paint primetime slots for new patients, where will new patients fit? We aren't talking about emergency patients. We are talking about non-emergency patients. What appointment choices do they get? 11 a.m. on a Monday? 1 p.m. on the first available Thursday? The absolute most inconvenient appointment days and times? Is that what we have left to offer our newest patients? By pre-appointing hygiene and not pre-painting or blocking primetime slots for new patients, you are doing the reverse of what is best. What you are doing now is allowing existing patients to select the best primetime slots and leaving the scraps for your newest patients. New patients deserve the best scheduling options, not the leftovers. Here's another part of this bottleneck problem. Using reduced price offers to attract the majority of your new patients. Now, by itself, this will not directly cause a bottleneck, but this will quickly accelerate a bottleneck. Just think about it for a second. If you use reduced price offers, online or offline, to get new patients to dial your phone number, and you pre-appoint these shoppers for their 6-month hygiene visit after the initial visit, and you simply email and text them a reminder before their appointment, what makes us believe these people who choose you based on a deal the first time aren't going to choose a different dentist based on a different deal the next time? Or choose a different dentist the next time they are in pain? You call these people shoppers. Pre-appointing shoppers is the accelerator toward a bottleneck. Using reduced price offers as a primary attraction tool in your advertising is like pouring gasoline on a bottleneck fire. Step number 3, fixing the problems. First of all, admit you have a problem. It is unbelievably difficult as a dentist to look at your schedule book, see it smashed and packed for the next 3 or 4 months, and not feel proud and successful. Wasn't that the whole idea of opening your practice? To get it this busy? Well, of course it was. We understand, we get it. But at least 30% of what you see visually is self-induced fantasy. At best, most practices are lower. Only 70% of those appointments you see in the schedule will actually come in on those days and time. The other 30% is just self-inflicted filler to make you feel better. Your administrative team spends a great deal of time juggling those 30% around. You don't realize it because you are focused on patient care in an operatory. At least 3 of every 10 appointments in your schedule will be moved or negated completely. A side benefit of removing the fantasy from your schedule is that you always have a true handle on the number of hygiene days you need to efficiently and effectively treat your truly active patient base. Stop pre-appointing all your hygiene appointments. Now, you can still pre-appoint A patients. Recall your B patients. Recall and forget your C patients. What are A patients? These are patients who pre-appointed last time, then kept the exact appointment they pre-appointed. They didn't call and reschedule. They actually booked an appointment 6 months in advance, got your reminder, text, or email, and actually came in on that day at that time. A patients are awesome. You can count on A patients. You can make business decisions based on A patients. What are B patients? Well, they were A patients or C patients at one point. They might have pre-appointed, then had to change their appointment. They might have been an I'll call when it hurts type patient in the past, but you educated them up to a B patient. But when it comes to making and keeping a 6-month recare appointment, they just cannot seem to be compliant. That's okay. No judgment. What are C patients? Probably were never A or B patients and likely won't become B patients. They are just people who come in whenever they feel like it or whenever something hurts. It's okay. No judgment here either. But for goodness sake, don't let them reserve an hour 6 months from now in your hygiene book. But how do we manage all of this? It's easy. Almost every practice management software has a way for you to categorize your patient base. Some or most call them user codes. So create recall codes B and C. A patients, these are patients that don't need a user code. There's nothing to do. They are in the schedule. They earn the courtesy. If they keep their appointments, they keep earning the right to choose the best day and time according to their schedule 6 months from now. B patients, no pre-appointing. Run recall cards, text, emails weekly for all recall patients due next week, but who do not have an appointment. At the end of the month, all non-responders get a card, email, text, letting them know they are overdue. If you do have someone working your overdue hygiene list, your B patients is where you want to devote resources. You don't need to devote resources to A patients. Your chances of converting a C patient is slim. Spend your time and money reactivating B patients. C patients. Run recall cards, text, email, monthly for all C patients due this current month, but do not have an appointment. No further follow-up is required. If it hurts in the future, they will call. All dental practices have some type of practice management software. Most dental practices have some type of patient communication system, which provides the ability to text, email, maybe even send a postcard. You all have this ability. This is not difficult. It might be different than what you are doing today, but it is not difficult. Start pre-blocking or painting your schedule with primetime new patient availability. If you have been pre-appointing for years, your hygiene book is packed. In order to get your new patient numbers to grow, we have to reserve time, primetime slots, for them in your practice management schedule. We have to go out beyond 6 months and block or paint, think reserve, primetime appointments for your anticipated more robust new patient flow. Here is an example of how you figure out how many blocks you need into the future. Let's say you currently get 20 new patients a month. You have your eye on an associate and want them to start part-time 6 months from now. You have calculated you will need 15 additional new patients each month to feed a part-time associate starting in 6 months. You need to go from 20 new patients a month to 35 new patients a month. This won't happen until you have 35 primetime slots blocked or painted for new patients when they call or when they book online. Here's the problem, though. You are currently pre-appointing and your hygiene book is slammed for at least 3 months out, maybe 4 months. You very likely have no primetime slots available to reserve for new patients for quite a while. So we have to go out to 6 or 7 months from now and work backward. Like this, 7 months out equals 35 primetime slots reserved. 6 months out, 29 primetime slots reserved. 5 months out, 26 primetime slots reserved. 4 months out, 24 primetime slots reserved. 3 months out, 24 again, primetime slots reserved. 2 months out, again, 24 primetime slots reserved. Next month, 24 primetime slots reserved. If you are currently pre-appointing and have a typically packed schedule, it is going to be very difficult to block and paint even 24 primetime new patient appointment slots next month. But try anyway. Do your best. Primetime existing patient cancellations will be your best friend over the next 6 months. Never thought you'd hear that sentence, did you? But it's true. Tell the team and keep telling the team. We have never seen a complete mutiny over transitioning from pre-appointing everyone to pre-appointing only those patients who deserve the courtesy. We have witnessed initial pushback from both the front desk and the hygiene staff. It seems the front desk likes the hygienist doing some of their work, and the hygienists like the control of reserving the amount of time they like to have with each patient. Go figure. In any event, transition is worth some slight changes to the daily routine at the front desk and in the hygiene rooms. If you take the time to make sure the team understands why the practice is bottlenecked They should all be in favor of making the necessary adjustments. Tell everyone your business team will block, paint, reserve areas in the schedule reserved only for new patients. Do not put existing patients into those slots. The business team will take care of filling any unfilled slots with existing patients if any of the reserved slots for new patients goes unused. These are primetime slots. They will be easy to fill with existing patient appointments should the need arise. What negative issues might happen during this transition? Well, your team might not know what to say to an existing patient who has always been offered the courtesy of pre-appointing. This is not difficult. Don't make a big deal out of it. For A patients, say what you always said and make their 6-month appointment. For B patients, tell them we will send you a card, text, and an email in 6 months when it is time for your next professional teeth cleaning and exam. Call us to schedule or make your appointment online. With C patients, tell them the same thing. We will send you a card, text, and email in 6 months when it is time for your next professional teeth cleaning and exam. Call us to schedule or make your appointment online. Now, if you get a patient who is not an A patient who adamantly demands to be pre-scheduled, well, go ahead and schedule them. Now, your hygienist and business team might not comply right away. Do this. Get a jar with a lid. Cut a hole in the lid large enough to receive a folded up $5 bill. Every staff person who violates the new policy has to put $5 in the oops jar. Donate the $10 or $15 to charity or buy everyone pizza one day. It won't take more than a couple times for the point to sink in. Be careful whether you choose to block, paint, or otherwise visually reserve those primetime slots for new patients in your practice management software. Every practice management system is slightly different. Pay particular attention if you use LocalMed. LocalMed treats the way you reserve time in the schedule differently depending on your individual setup and the practice management software you use. So when we say block, if by blocking it we'll remove the availability from LocalMed, don't block for new patients in your PMS schedule. Use the paint feature instead. What we are looking to achieve is to give your team visual guidance where they can and cannot put existing patient appointments. In some practice management software, you can tell LocalMed to read through the blocks. Bottom line, if you have LocalMed or are planning on getting it, take the time to understand your practice management software and LocalMed, then set them both up to help you through the transition. Eventually, if you keep painting, blocking, reserving 120% of last month's actual new patient total, you are going to reach a point where you have too many openings and your marketing can't keep up. Your business team at the front desk will tell you they are filling the reserve slots with existing patients. But that's a good thing. Now you have good business considerations. Now you can decide to expand one of your 3 capacities, which are hours of operation, number of dentist hours, number of treatment rooms, and continue to grow with more marketing or be happy with the new larger number of new patients within your current capacity. These are good, healthy, welcomed business considerations. Step number 4, make sure the bottleneck never happens again. Do the following steps every month. It takes less than 2 minutes per month. Number 1, multiply average number of new patients from the past 6 months times 120%. This is the number of primetime openings to reserve for new patients next month. What happens if you grow 20% every month? Good problem to have, eh? Number 2, we mentioned this earlier. We're going to underscore it again. Pretend you are a non-emergency new patient calling or looking for an opening online. Look at your appointment book. You want a first appointment early morning or last appointment in the afternoon within 6 workdays. If you can find a couple of options, you are not bottlenecked. If it is getting harder and harder to find an opening, congratulations. You are not bottlenecked and you have begun to grow and max your capacity again. Now you have other things to think about, like expanding. But at least you aren't wondering why your new patient numbers aren't growing anymore. Additional benefits of these changes. You will always have a true handle on the number of hygiene hours and days you need efficiently and effectively to treat your truly active patient base. You will never overhire hygiene coverage based on fantasy. You will hire based on reality. How much will that save you over a career? As you reach natural growth transition points in your career, like first hygienist, expanded services, first associate, first full-time associate, or partner, you will reach your objective faster and more predictably. Won't that be nice? You will never change marketing that was actually working, but was limited by your bottleneck. How much money and stomach lining will that save you over the course of a career? Fewer new patients will cancel or no-show. More new patients will be compliant with their first appointment. That's because it was an appointment convenient to them, not you. Summary. The discovery of the damage caused by pre-appointing and not reserving enough time for new patient growth came to us quite naturally. Client new patient advertising result data pours into us. We see the same data the client sees. When we saw client ad response volume and quality strong enough to grow any dental practice, but saw flat new patient volume on the client end, it sent up red flags. You only have to listen to a handful of new patient phone calls to figure out the business staff had no alternative but to offer the new patient a time slot they didn't ask for, or go forward in the schedule 2 or 3 weeks to find a slot the patient did want. The practical application of pre-appointment has stagnated nearly every mature dental practice in the U.S. From a dental business perspective, it is a damaging practice management epidemic. The good news is the cure is right there in front of you. You are in complete control. It costs you nothing to fix. If you want to read some case studies from dental offices who have found their marketing bliss, go to our website, newpatientsinc.com. If you want more education and want to become more of a dental marketing nerd like we are, you can find a world of dental marketing education resources on our website, newpatientsinc.com. If you want us to build a marketing plan for your practice at no cost or obligation, go to our website and click Get Started. Now, if you want to discuss dental marketing topics with professionals and dentists alike, we invite you to join us at our Dental Marketing Mastery Facebook group. If there is ever anything we can help you with, you can find us on our website or by telephone at 866-336-8237. We sincerely hope this guide helps you connect with more patients who can benefit from the services you provide. The end.